Can you walk me through like your path of entertainment and how you got into it?
My path is a little different, I think. I didn't really get started into acting or like pursue it really
Mm-hmm.
until I was um, 26, 25 is when I moved out to LA, 2012, so whatever that was. And I had a professional job, I still do,
Mm-hmm.
and I pursue the acting as I can because it really is a journey. It doesn't happen overnight, at least not for me. And I had always had a passion. I was involved in plays like as a kid and in school, but I never saw it as like a real life choice. So, I went to college, I did, my degree and started working, and then I just wasn't happy. And I was seeing, there was a guy I went to school with that I was following on Facebook, blame it on Facebook, and he was out there
Mm-hmm.
acting. And I was like,
Awesome.
wait a minute, because he's a, like, I thought of him as like a serious person too, I was like, well, if he can do it, I can do it. And so I literally sold everything in my house, sold the house, packed up my car, and drove across the country to LA. And I've been out here ever since, like the 8 years.
Amazing.
And that's kind of how I got started. I just started doing acting classes when I got here,
Mm-hmm.
really.
That's awesome. So where are you from? Where'd you move from?
So I am from Louisiana.
Oh, wow.
I tell people New Orleans because that's what people know, but I'm really from like a smaller town, Slidell, like north of it. Um,
Okay.
yeah,
So that must have been a huge transition moving out to California. What was that like for you?
that was very different. Just mainly, what I remember what I remember moving out here is I would go on a walk every single day, and every single day I was like, oh my gosh, the weather is beautiful. Oh, it's so sunny every day. And it took, I don't know how long it took me before I realized that's just how it is. I did move like in April, so I think that was like probably like the prime like temperature,
Definitely.
Um, so that's what I remember because Louisiana, we get rain, there's thunderstorms, and I'm like, when I tell people, I was like, I don't even know what rain looks like anymore. Like they're like, what?
That's
What's
funny.
thunder?
So when you moved to California, what was like the first like big project that you booked? Do you remember?
Well, the first for me as an actor, my first big project was a student film, and
Oh, cool.
I'm going to say it was big because it filmed 6 days, and it was 6 days straight, and it was just me and another guy, and I was like, why did these people pick me? I'm like, this is so much. But it was such a great learning experience because it really was not a typical student film. I've learned from that experience and then trying to do some other student films that I was like, no, these people knew what they were doing. They had hired
Mhm.
some really good crew along with like their student core. And it was done really professional, and it was a really good learning experience.
For sure.
I think if I would have been thrown into like a TV show or some big budget movie or whatever like that, I probably would have had a heart attack and died and quit, because it would have been so much pressure because I do put a lot of pressure on myself.
Mhm.
Um, so I'm grateful for that. That, and I learned that the Pacific Ocean is very cold, and I will not get in there again unless I'm being paid like big bucks. I was like, I am not doing that for free again. That is too cold.
That's amazing. So aside from that, like what else did you learn from working on the student film that really helped you to kind of propel your knowledge in acting?
Just the time. I think the biggest thing is realizing how much time it takes
Hmm.
um, for just a simple scene. Another thing I did when I first moved out here, for about the first year and a half or two, I did background work. And I was fortunate enough to work on Mad Men, and I was there
Wow.
for like 3 seasons
Hmm.
because they liked having, I was like a secretary in the background, and they wanted it to look like the same people, that like a real job.
Hmm.
So that was like super grateful because that was the most professional show I ever worked on. And
Hmm.
because you were there so much, they treated you like
That's good.
people. And so that was like the most wonderful experience. And watching these legit professionals work,
Hmm.
that is probably where I got my most training, to be honest, like at least on how to be on set, what's expected of you, how to be respectful of other actors who are working,
Hmm.
and then just the skill it takes. I still tell people to this day about a scene that I remember John Slattery, however you say his name, like it was emotional, and it was such a big group of us. Like it was so intimidating, I would imagine, you know, and I'm like, wow, and he's hitting it every single take. And I was just like, all right, that's what I need to go towards, you know? And so that was really good to have such strong examples of acting between him and John Hamm and Christina Hendricks. Like they're just amazing people. So yeah, that was really good.
That sounds like an amazing experience for you. I know you said you went to like university to study something else. What did you study when you went there?
So I have a degree in medical laboratory science.
Oh wow,
So
that's
I work
different.
in a hospital lab running blood work. If you go to the hospital or get blood work drawn, I am the one that like runs the numbers. So
that's great. So that's way different than acting though, but it's really nice to have that to kind of do while you're still trying to pursue acting. That's really great.
Yeah, it's a really good day job, I guess you could say, while pursuing the acting.
Definitely. And I know you were on Babysplitters. What was that experience like for you? What was the audition process like?
It was a very new experience as well. And that audition experience is kind of unique as well. Through the years, through different connections and events, I started working with London Stroud Casting as an assistant. And for Babysplitters, I was the reader that day. She likes to use me for reader. And it was a very intensive day. Like we had to cast like 12 or so roles in that one day. Like we were there 8 hours with me, Lisa London, and then Sam Freelander, the writer director. So, and he just looked at me and he was like, hey, do you mind improvising with all these actors? And I was like, sure. Yeah, I can do it. And I knew in the back of my mind, like we didn't have every role being auditioned. And the role that I ended up being was not a role that we auditioned for. So at the end of the day, and then, well, lunch too, I just told him like, hey, I really would love an opportunity. Like, you know, we just got to know each other. I was like, I just tried to be open and honest. And then by the end of the day, we're going through all the casting, and I didn't say anything because I try to like know my place. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just the reader. But it was such a pleasant experience for me because I didn't have any pressure. You know, I was there to help the other actor be successful. And that for me, as even like an actor, is when I do my best, is when I am just trying to be giving as a scene partner. So I just had that whole mindset the whole day, and I was completely relaxed because it wasn't my job on the line, you know? Definitely. So it wasn't until like the next day, I was like, hey, Lisa, I was like, I noticed that this role wasn't cast. And she's like, yeah, I'm going to ask Sam if he'll give it to you. And sure enough, he was like, yeah, she was great. So that was how I got the role in Babysplitters. So it was very chill and relaxed in a way.
So how would you describe your character on the show?
It's a very, I'm there to just give some reality to the movie. I'm the professional person that just comes in to be like, hey, babies are born, you know? And we did it several times. And I tried different ways, like, okay, am I being like, this is weird because I know there's another couple, or am I just going to be that professional nurse that's like, hey, this may be weird, but I'm not going to show it, you know? And that ends up being what's in the movie, but it was fun to just take it different ways because the circumstance is so weird. You could be very much like that judgmental, like nurse, like, the other parents, yeah, babies are born, okay, bye. So yeah, the character's just professional. I was like, I'm not trying to steal the scene and be funny, you know, because it's a very I guess it's the serious moment in the movie, or like when it first becomes kind of like reality in a way. Like before all that, it's like all this absurdity happening, and then in this moment is when everything is like just, you know, some heart.
That's great. And then I know you mentioned that you did like a short film, like a student film, and then this was a movie. Do you have any dream projects or kind of genre you'd want to go into?
I love comedy. A dream project, I would love to be in a sitcom. I'd love to be the star of a sitcom, of course, or even a rom-com. You know, I admire, there's there's new movies now coming out finally that are just cute and sweet. You know, back what idols or whatever growing up was like Meg Ryan and Tom Hanks and, you know, like
Mhm.
Sleepless in Seattle and like 2 Weeks Notice with Sandra Bullock, like those kind of movies that are just so sweet
That's
is like what I want to do. And that's like my dream, is like to do that kind of movie or just be in a fun TV sitcom as
definitely.
well.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. I could really see you being that. You seem like a really nice person that would be a really good fit for those kind of characters and things like that.
Oh, thank you.
Where do you see yourself in your career in 5 years, or where do you hope to be?
I'm gonna be the lead of a sitcom.
I bet. Yes, definitely.
And I feel like I'm at such a good place. Um, I had filmed another movie last year as
Hmm.
well, so I don't really know where it's in the process of being released or completed even. Um, where it's just another little, you know, I'm a soccer coach assistant like at a high school, and that was a fun little
Definitely.
piece as well. So just keep
That's
on.
so really cool though to keep like working and keep at it. That's really great. I definitely think that you're going to be that lead one day. And then you kind of mentioned you have like the film that you just worked on. Do you have any other upcoming projects or anything else your fans can look forward to?
Just finished filming. We it was a difficult thing to do, but we just finished filming a short called The Letter, and it's my most challenging role because it isn't funny. It's very
Oh,
serious.
mm-hmm.
It's about a father dying and then like how the family kind of copes with it.
Mm-hmm.
So it was 3 days of shooting because it's gonna probably be like a 12-minute short. And of course, I'm like every day is like crying is like my character, and that's much more challenging than people think because it
Mm-hmm.
does take so many takes, this angle, and then, you know, and it was emotionally draining, and but I loved it. I love knowing that I can do it because you don't know until you finally are given that opportunity to try.
Definitely.
So should hopefully that comes out in a month or two. So that'll be the next thing.
And I know a lot of people go into acting for a wide variety of reasons. Why do you think you kind of fell in love with the industry?
Initially, because I'd watch these interviews with like actors, and I would see these people who never had any training, let's say ice skating, riding a horse or whatever, and then they get training to do that character in a film. And I have such interest in like everything,
Mm-hmm.
but don't have the means of like actually learning that on my own. So I was like, acting, you can be anything and learn everything plus travel. And I was like, that's wonderful. And so that's really what got me into it initially, because I wanted to travel and I wanted to learn how to horseback ride.
Have,
Really.
did you get to do that for a film?
Not yet.
Maybe you will in the future. That would be a
But
great
I'm open and
experience.
I'm ready.
Yes. And then lastly, where can fans stay connected with you on social media? Like what is your like your Instagram handle, Twitter handle?
Instagram is KJ Beyer, Beyer, and I'm most active on that. And you can also find my Facebook page at Krystal Beyer. Twitter, I barely go on there. It's so many angry people, so go to
Definitely.
my Instagram. So KJ Beyer,
Perfect.
and yeah.
Awesome.